Our artist of the week is Henri Matisse. Henri Matisse was French, so you don't say the H at the beginning of his name like ha ha. You say it ah. Henri Matisse. Here's Mr. Matisse in his studio, and you can see that he's cutting with a very big pair of scissors. Let's learn a little bit more about Mr. Matisse. So, Henri Matisse started his career as a painter, and he started using kind of crazy colors along with a bunch of other artists, and they were nicknamed the fauves. So this is the word fauves. Fauves means wild beasts. So this picture of a woman with a hat has some crazy colors. They're totally not the real colors of this lady and the background and her clothes. Henri Matisse used his imagination to mix these crazy colors into this portrait. Later in his life, Henri Matisse started making these cutouts or collages. So, in this collage, you might see some shapes that remind you of some things in the world. Here's another one of Mr. Matisse's collages. What kinds of things could these be? This one, here's a hint, is called the lagoon. How can we get inspired by Mr. Matisse this week? Let's get inspired by Mr. Matisse by trying out our own cut paper collage. So here I've got a whole bunch of different colored pieces of paper. If you're at home, you can use any sort of paper that you've got. You could use magazines, you could use junk mail, whatever you have around that you can cut and glue. You don't need this fancy colored paper, but if you've got it, that's awesome. So I'm going to take one piece of paper at a time. Let's see, I've got a whole bunch of colors here. Maybe I'll start with orange. And I'm gonna see what kinds of shapes I can cut. If I just make one regular old cut like this, I can get a triangle. Now, if I get a little fancy, I can make some curves. This takes a lot of practice. Look how I turn my paper to cut those shapes. Remember some of those seaweed kind of shapes that we saw in Mr. Matisse's artwork? You can try that on your own. I turn my paper and close my scissors really carefully. Now, you could also make some shapes and piece them together. So let's try that too. Maybe I just want to make some long shapes. Maybe I want to make some curvy and long shapes. You can cut any kinds of shapes that you want. And you can make your shapes look like things that you know. Like maybe if I cut a square, I could put it together with this rectangle or this triangle. I'm thinking ahead, and I could make something that looks like a house. So I'm gonna cut a whole bunch of shapes and make a nice collection. You should make a collection of shapes too. So let's do it. Now that I've got my collection of shapes, I'm gonna put it to the side and we're gonna try to start gluing. So I'm going to use a glue stick for this. You could use a glue bottle too, but we're gonna start with this because it's pretty easy. The thing about glue sticks is, number one, you have to keep track of the cap. Don't lose it, so keep it very close nearby. I'm gonna keep it where I can see it. Number two, this is how you get the glue stick to go up, but you don't need it to go up too much. Just a little bit, that's fine. Okay, now let's start gluing some things down. I'm gonna take this pink piece, and to glue this, I'm gonna put my glue all around the edge of my piece. I don't have to cover the whole thing. I'm just gonna go around the edge. This is the edge. I don't have to cover the whole thing. We don't want to waste our glue. So I'm going around the edge. I'm going to find a nice spot for it, maybe like right here. Press it down. Oh yeah. Now, let's go for this glue guy. And you can make your pieces overlap. You can make them touch. So maybe this is going all the way over there onto the pink part. There's some big noise coming from the house. It's like my mom's house, very loud. Now, if you have a very small piece like this, you can put the glue on first on the collage and then put the little piece on top. Here's my finished collage. It's pretty cool. It's got a lot of great details, especially hamburger stomach, spiky snake, awesome house, very loud. So think about what you could make with your cut paper. It could be a picture, or it could just be playing around with shapes and colors. Good luck!